Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. We're going to work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that I follow. I'm going to interject my financial opinion all across the board. And if you guys need any help with anything, definitely check out finding-value.com. Join our community. Love to have you be a part of the community. You can use the word discount in the coupon code if you'd like. And we do have a platinum question and answer session at 7 a.m. Saturday, Mountain Standard Time. Let's dive in and see what's going on in the markets. Oh, and the setting here is auto. That's where it is. They put it in this little thing down here that I was missing. So dollar, we're up today. Higher yields, higher dollar, higher everything. It's going to put pressure on precious metals to go lower, and it could put pressure on commodities also to go lower with the stronger dollar as commodities are priced in dollars. So we've got we've got lots of selling pressure up here, definite resistance. We came back down, big selling pressure candlesticks. We came back, and now we're kind of battling here a little bit now. We've got a large up candlestick that is a reversal candlestick today. That is called a bullish piercing, where it opens up below the closing price and finishes above the 50th percentile to the upside. And sometimes we can get short-term reversals or even longer-term reversals off candlesticks that are like that. But either way, DXY is higher today in the short term, and that's going to put pressure on precious metals when we combine that with yields. The 2-year yield, it's rocketing higher, guys. This still looks actually quite strong. I was looking for a potential turn, believing that the recession boys could potentially be right, but I don't know. I mean, generally what we saw the past 40 plus years is if a recession comes, people run into bonds. This is still going higher, guys. People are not running into bonds. It lines up with where we are in the real estate cycle, increasing yields, but I'm surprised, even with the weakness, perceived weakness in the markets, that we continue to go higher in yields. So that is something of interest. The 10-year rocketing higher, up 2%. We are up against this resistance line. We'll see if we can break it to the upside here. What does that mean? It means that people do not want bonds. They are either afraid of further bonds issuance, afraid of higher yields, or afraid of inflation. And that is the theme so far. We're also higher on the 30-year yield, moving on up. And this does, to me, look like a consolidation that will eventually work our way higher, kind of a flag pattern. So, everything's actually looking good for yields to continue on up. And that could put pressure on precious metals. Now, at some point, we saw yields go up in the 1970s, and gold and precious metals went up with it. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm waiting for that type of condition or that environment to come. TYX, TNX ratio, the yield curve is still inverting. Quite surprisingly, I'm going to say I'm a little bit surprised. We have a good bullish engulfing here. Came in, I was expecting to move up, but no, it went lower. In the short term, that can obviously happen, and we could see a further inversion of the yield curve. Bond prices going lower. And this is very interesting, guys. We're right up against this resistance line, and that resistance line isn't exactly drawn in perfectly there. You could even draw it like this if you wanted to. You could do something like that. I feel like this is moving on me, but you could draw it like that. Are we going to break lower? Are we going to break higher? Tough to say. Again, this is bond prices. Yields going higher is going to put pressure on bonds. Bonds are going to be selling off when yields go up. And that's the conditions we're seeing in the short term here. Gold is heading lower. It does not like a higher dollar combined with an inverting yield curve and higher yields. That's the triple whammy against gold. But we are pulling back. We're down to 1913. Let's see if we get some support here. Even if we dip down below this a little bit, I have to see this really sell off for me to turn bearish on it. But right now, we're right on support. We'll see what happens. Silver down more. And again, we've got some good selling pressure here that is continuing, and we could still see lower prices. Platinum also heading lower. It's accelerating. So what I would do is do nothing. Wait for this to bottom out. I don't try to run in front of that momentum. Wait for it to kind of turn, get a couple of trampoline jumps or whatever it is, and there's your spot to go into it. And I just made up that location. But right now, I would not jump in front of that. XE to go ratio, this does look strong from a charting perspective that we could go higher. That's a bullish engulfing pattern. We also basically came back to this starting point. So we come up, come back, put in a bullish engulfing. That's generally a bullish sign. But precious metals are heading lower, and XAU, which is gold and silver mining companies, are just going down less. We still haven't broken the big long-term downtrend line. We still need to break that. So I don't know if the right conditions are here yet. We still might be in wave 2 of a pullback. Commodities down a little bit, down 1.82%. We've been just basically bouncing back and forth all through here. Doesn't know which direction to go. Generally, what you'll see is on a pullback, if it starts doing this, it just means that we've got strong support. If the market conditions are bad long enough, it will kind of do one last potential washout sale. It's not 100% given, but it's possible that we do a washout kind of move to the downside at some point. CRB to S&P 500 still working its way lower. Just hold on, wait for this momentum to end. That's what I'll say. GDX right on support. Looks like the momentum shifted throughout the day. It was still a down day, but right on support. GDXJ, very similar. It's just below support here. Well, I don't know why this thing is moving my lines up and down, but it's more like that. But something along the lines of that. SILJ also down a little bit. And I don't know why these lines had moved on me. It's like they did some sort of update or something. But we're still within the pattern. For SILJ, we still have some time, I think, before we move on up. Crude oil getting hit pretty hard today, down 4.25%. We're still above support, and we do have strong support down here. And we're still above that. Let's see what happens the rest, tomorrow, the rest of the week. See if we get another large, strong selling pressure day, or if we start to come back up or start to move to the upside. Natural gas just moving sideways. Again, we've been bouncing back and forth here. We do have kind of the lows and it's starting to come back up. We'll see if that is sustainable or not. XOP, yeah, you know me, down a little bit, back kind of within the pattern again. We had good, strong resistance. Looks like we are ready to take off here, and it just hasn't materialized yet. And we'll see what happens. If you were to ask me, this still looks good to go higher. We don't have a ton of selling pressure in that circle there. And we came up off this bottom pretty strong. So we'll see what happens in the short term here. Same with OIH. It looks good. We popped higher here, and then we just have basically a flag pattern. That's what that is. So we'll see if we get moving to the upside or not. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust actually looking quite strong from the physical standpoint. This still looks good to go higher. It's a bullish engulfing. Not much selling pressure up in this area. Everything looks solid. Everything looks solid. We're just below this resistance area going across here. So we're kind of just resting underneath it. URNM getting a little bit more selling pressure in the equities, but it still looks fine. We came up off the bottom here and got bought back up. That's actually not too bad looking of a chart. We could still work our way higher. URNJ is just an amplification of that because it's the small junior companies. So we had a little bit more of a selling pressure day today. TAN had a nice reversal. That's good. You can see we came down and then reversed on up. So the momentum's heading to the upside. Again, we have to see how strong this moves higher. If we just get little guys that come up, then we'll roll back down. So we'll see what the bounce looks like. COPX, This thing's just going sideways as far as I can tell in kind of a channel. We've got lithium coming back to doing that retest move. Let me see. Yeah, I drew that in there decently, but retest move here actually doesn't look too bad to move on higher. REMX also doing the return move. That's generally where I buy it, and we'll see if we get a bounce here or not. The S&P 500 holding together quite well. It's a bullish engulfing. Still looks good to go higher. That is a reversal candlestick right where we're at to go on up. NASDAQ also possesses that. That looks like it wants to go higher in the short term. Looks good. Emerging markets came back down to the support level. That's generally where I like to purchase. And we've got the dollar strengthening today, so that kind of makes sense that was down a little bit. XHB strengthening yield, strengthening dollar, and it's still holding on. Still looks good to go on up. Not much selling pressure up here. Could we do a retest move back down here? That is possible. So keep that in mind. And we do have a structure where we could do that, where we could just come back down to this level at 74.50 or something like that. Move still looks good to move on up. We've got lots of green candlesticks, small red candlesticks. That's generally the recipe to move on higher. Copper down. Well, not really. It's just flat. But copper is up there too. So if we're going to get this big recession, it's not throwing us any of the leading indicators that we would normally see, or the ones that I normally look at would be copper declining. It would also be the copper to gold ratio, but copper's been going up against gold because gold's been going down. And then it would also be interest rates diving down. We haven't seen interest rates dive down. They've been actually very strong to the upside. So I think we're just kind of meandering around in the markets in the short term here. Iron ore still looking good. From this perspective, I think that can still go higher. Iron ore looks good, and generally you don't, in a recession, you don't see iron ore looking strong. Usually what you see is a dive lower, and then you stay down. And then they had money printed and it shot that back up. Nickel down a little bit, right against resistance support. That's what that blue line is going across. We just banged our head on it. We've got aluminum also down a little bit, down 1.5%. But again, we're down towards this support level, and we'll see if that support level holds. We've got Baltic Dry Index that looks fantastic to go to the upside. That could be a good location. And guys, if you're part of the channel, you might want to be looking at some of the Baltic Dry Index. I know I forgot to add that in the midweek update. Some of the charts don't look too bad, and we'll talk about it this weekend. Some of the companies I like in the Baltic Dry Index. Newcastle Coal Futures coming back basically right to the support level. And we're going to base out here. So just be patient. Let it base out for a little bit. Might take some months. So generally, when you see these big moves, guys, like this, it takes some time for it to kind of roll over. It creates a structure. So it popped up here in February of 2022, kind of broke down in January of 23. It was up here for a year. That's what's going to happen down here. It's going to base out for a little while. So just be patient. Let it base out. Ethereum down a little bit. But again, we had a lot of momentum here. So we'll see where that goes. We did run into this resistance level here. Boom. And we'll see if we can move on up from there. Bitcoin also moving on up. We did break out of this resistance line there. Boom, big breakout. But you could see a return move in the short term for a little retest move. Don't get too excited. And I know I talked about a potential fractal that's over this that could work its way on up. So when I do these fractal analyses, it doesn't mean that that's my 100% certainty. It's just a possibility. So don't get too caught up in the short-term movements. Look at the big picture view. If something looks good and the statistics are in your favor, well, that's when you play it. If you get full alignment, that's when you really want to play it. A full alignment move is when you've got ratios cheap, technical analysis matches it. You've got like inflation and all this other data that just matches all up. And that's when this is the best time to go big. is when everything aligns. Your valuations, your technical analysis, your market conditions are all in alignment. Right now, we've got some alignments and some things that aren't in alignment. For instance, we don't have the inflation behind us. We've got more of a disinflation where inflation's coming down. We've got good valuations in a lot of stuff. And we've got the market conditions are ripe in terms of a housing market boom. I know some people disagree with that, but maybe I'll do a video specifically on that. Show you guys the mid-cycle wobble and what that might look like. But yeah, that's what we've got for today. Give me a thumbs up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you'd like. And we'll catch you guys later. This is Finding Value.